Special uninvited guests came in through the back door. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bellew! Dance with the mantis, note the slim chances. Chant this anthem, swing like beat samples. Taking it straight to big man on campus. Brandish your weapon or get dropped to the canvas. Scandalous, made the
Hi everyone, you're here with the Ringcast team. We're up here in Liverpool today to discuss the cleverly Bellew fight. You know, it's got a stacked undercard. I'm here with the Ringcast team. So we're going to talk about each fight so they can all give you their thoughts. We're going to start with Joshua Michael Sprott. We'll start with myself before we go along. I think it's going to be a short night. Joshua should have a pretty easy time. Michael Sprott's a seasoned veteran, but I don't see Joshua being taken any more than about 5-6 rounds. You know, no disrespect to Sprott, he's a seasoned campaigner, but based on, you know, previous performances, he was stopped in his last fight in the first round. You know, I think Joshua would do the same. So I'm just going to hand over to the Ringcast team. I don't think this will take very long. But yeah, we'll start with Femi.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with anything you've said there. I mean, I'm sorry. I know he's from Reading, isn't it? So, so yeah, really sorry, but yeah, no. I mean, we all know why he's been put here for this to give Anthony Joshua a test. But what I will say though is that it'll be good to see, you know, punches actually thrown at Anthony Joshua. Let's see how. I hope anyway. So let's see how he handles that, you know. So because so far we haven't seen that. So yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say on that really.
I agree. I think this will be the first fight where we see Joshua having some you know, punches thrown back at him. But again, I expect it to be a pretty early finish. I think Joshua will blow him out in the first 2 rounds. If it goes any further, I'd be very surprised. It's a good test, a good challenge for him. Sprott's a good name. I think they're doing well with what they're doing and how they're pacing him. But I think the outcome will be pretty much the same. Joshua should win by knockout. I think first 2 rounds. Don't see it going any other way, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got to agree with Hasib there. You know, Sprott's from my hometown, Reading. I'd love for him to get the upset and get the win, but it's really not going to happen.
Far-fetched.
You know, if I was Sprott and I was Sprott's camp, I'd say, you know what? Let's just train for 9 minutes and just go at Joshua, pressure him, throw punches, and try and get the Hail Mary punch. Because if you're going to stand there and box him, it's not going to happen. It's going to take him out. But I think him coming forward, being wide open, I can actually see a okay happening for Josh tonight in the first round probably. Second round, I'd be surprised if it goes that far. To be honest, I think it's going to be an early finish. It's going to be quite a vicious knockout, unfortunately. But I'd love for Sprott to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree as well. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to actually pick Marcus Sprott for this fight. I think with the progress that Joshua's actually made, I think he'll probably take him out in the first couple of rounds. It's quite simple. I mean, I don't actually believe Marcus Sprott will probably land anything major on Joshua, even though he's probably not technically the best. But initially, I think it's going to end it.
Same, to be honest. I think that Sprott is a decent test for Joshua, but it's not going to be anything that, you know, is going to pose any kind of problems. I think that Joshua needs these kind of fights to build up his resume, as it was. But easy, I reckon third round best, to be honest. But yeah, Joshua all day long.
Yeah, fair enough. So it looks like
Light work.
Looks like it's a easy Joshua win. So the Ringcast reckon Joshua will get it done pretty soon. So yeah. We go to the Groves Douglin fight because, you know, similar to the Joshua fight, we see it as a foregone conclusion, you know, and this is probably the same with Groves, probably the same with the Gale. A lot of people have been complaining about the quality of the card because it's a pay-per-view. Now, Joshua, Groves, the Gale, even Quigg, McDonald, Callum Smith on undercard, they're pretty heavy favourites. So a lot of people have been complaining about, you know, having to shell out, was it 17 quid for pay-per-view. You know, other than the main event, the rest are perceived as mismatches, with maybe the exception of the Gale. I think, do you guys agree?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I mean, yeah, I was quite surprised that it was actually going on to pay-per-view. I mean, listen, I respect Sky Sports. Shout out to Sky and, you know, Matchroom. They're obviously doing their thing, and I really enjoy watching everything. But I mean, yeah, I mean, nah, mismatches on pay-per-view, you know, a bunch of mismatches with one 50-50 fight, you know, that being the main event and all. Yeah, I understand, but no, I'm not pleased with that, but yeah, so.
But, you know, I have to agree with you. When I first heard the fight announced, I kind of thought, no, this is not pay-per-view worthy. But as time's gone on, if I was at home now and wasn't actually going to the fight watching it, I'd buy the pay-per-view. I want to see an card. I want
Because
to
you're
see
a boxing fan,
yeah,
not a casual boxing
but my
fan.
casual friends are watching as well. They're asking me, you know, where you going to watch it?
Fair
You're watching
enough.
the fight. So, you know, it's done a good job marketing the fight. You know,
My
you want
casual
and you
friends are going
and you
to
do want to
casino.
support the British fighters coming up through the ranks. You know, you want to support Quigg.
Mm.
You want to support Joshua.
Mm.
You know, so I don't see why people, you know, get behind the fight. You know, we need boxing to get that mainstream coverage. This undercard and this fight is doing that.
Mm.
Everyone's talking about this fight now. You may not even know Bellew and Cleverly's past fights, anything like that, but they want to see this fight. So I think it's all for the good of boxing. I think, you know, pay-per-view worthy. I'll probably say it probably is. To be honest with you, it's changed my mind. I think, you know, it's fair enough. It is pay-per-view worthy.
I'd agree with that. I think in the past we've always had the main event, which is the pay-per-view worthy event, and then the undercard's pretty poor. You see that in the States quite a lot. This card, however, I think we're actually, I don't want to say lucky, but we're quite privileged with the fact that we do have De Gale, who arguably is a pay-per-view fighter. Groves, who has his last three fights have been pay-per-view. You know, we do have, you know, upcomers like Joshua, Quigg, Callum Smith coming up as well. So all of those fighters on the undercard, I think, is a privilege, and I think it is worth a pay-per-view. It's definitely a card that, as soon as we saw, we all decided we wanted to come down and watch the event. So if we're willing to spend £60 on a ticket, I'd be more than happy to pay, you know, £17 on box office as well. And the main event as well, with it being Cleverly Bellew rematch, you know, the first fight was a brilliant fight, and the fact that the rivalry is as spiteful as it is just adds to the whole mix. So for me, I think this is a much better card than ones that we've seen in the States, for example, and even ones that we've had previously in the UK as well. This is much better card than anything I've seen on the States, if I'm honest with you.
No, I agree. It's much better than anything.
Pep, I think it's a good opportunity to showcase British talent.
I agree. I agree.
You know,
exactly.
I mean,
to be honest.
I'm not sure if it's going to be televised in America or wherever, but it's a showcase for British fans and the general boxing public.
I think that's a great point you've made because, you know, speaking to a lot of hardcore boxing fans who are like, these fights are all mismatches, the odds are, you know, crazy. But the point needs to be said, you know, there are things when fighters are coming up called showcase fights. You know, on big events, you need showcase fights. The draws, you know, the big names, they need to be in fights where they're going to be showcased, you know, to the best of their ability. Maybe, obviously, you know, not being challenged as much. But, you know, it's and I wanted to come to another point where, you know, people at work found out that, you know, I was coming up to cover the fight and they were saying, oh, you know, it's a great undercard. And I was like, well, yeah, there's big names on the undercard. I didn't think, you know, like a lot of people think that, you know, they're 50-50 fights. They're not at all. They're pretty much all mismatches. But there's big names on it. And Eddie Hearn mentioned, I think, in a podcast the other week, he said, there's about 100 to 200,000 casual fans in the UK. But there's about 800,000 casuals who will come in, or watch football, order the pay-per-view, and that's his market. So I think, you know, we can agree that's probably why, you know, he's putting fights like this on. You know, the big names are drawing people in. And, you know, having said that, Groves Douglin, does anyone know Dennis Douglin?
No.
Are we all going Groves win?
Yeah. No doubt about it.
Stoppage decision?
But I think on that note, on that note, I do think it's you know, it's credit where credit's due. I think Eddie Hearn's done a fantastic job on this card, and I think Sky Sports as well. Sky Sports have a habit of doing great promotion and great advertising for their fights, and you know, this one again has been a really good job in terms of the Bellew Cleverly build up. You know, the behind the ropes. You know, they have a very good habit of delivering when it comes to advertising and promotion, getting people interested in the fights, and then adding on top the future of boxing, getting the casual fans interested in the Bellew Cleverly fight, but then showcasing the likes of Callum Smith, Anthony Joshua as well. It's a great marketing tool by Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn. So I think credit where credit's due. So it's a fantastic job by those guys.
That's it.
Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement. Groves will probably come out victorious against Douglin. And that leads us to, you know, what could be next for Groves. You know, he's had this long rivalry with James De Gale. You know, we heard They had a near brawl at the press
Yeah,
conference
yeah.
yesterday. And that sort of leads us on to the Gale versus Periban fight, which, in my opinion, I'm sure you guys agree, is probably the closest, probably the toughest test for any of these stars who are being showcased, other than Cleverly Bellew. You know, Marc-Antonio Periban, tough Mexican. You know, lost to Badu Jack. He's been in Sakio Bika, lost narrowly. Sakio Bika, I think he fought Bika to a draw. I think it was. And then, you know, gave Jalen Love all sorts of trouble. Had him on Queer Street. But Jalen Love.
What street?
You know, I'd just like to say, you know, I have nothing against the homosexual community.
Pardon me, sorry.
But it's just the boxing terminology. You know, so I think he'll give the Gale a tough fight. He's Mexican, he'll come forward. He's tough, he's durable. So, you know, James DeGale will need to be on his P's and Q's. So I just wonder what you guys think. Got it for me?
Yeah, James DeGale, man. I really like James DeGale. You know, I was quite surprised that when this fight was announced. You know, I wasn't expecting it to be on the undercard. I heard DeGale and Groves arguing about who's chief support. This fight is chief support. Whether or not it comes after, you know, Cleverly Bellew or before Cleverly Bellew, just immediately or whatnot, this has to be, because it's the most competitive fight aside from the main event. Tough fight. I do think DeGale will do it. I was quite surprised the way DeGale handled Brandon Gonzalez. I expected DeGale to win that, but I expected it to be tough.
Agreed.
I'm kind of going off the same sort of, you know, based on what I saw with the fight against him and Brandon Gonzalez. I'm going to sort of use that to form my prediction of this. I think he surprises us by how well he does against Periban, but Periban poses a real threat. He's very, very durable. Yeah, you know, he's going to come with a lot of heart. Listen, but I do think DeGale is special. I do think DeGale is special. And moving on from this, if DeGale does fight Groves, I do think DeGale wins. I thought he won the first.
Agreed.
I thought he won the first. Yes, I know people have something to say about that, but you know, that's how it is. That's what I thought.
It's another show.
Exactly. So yeah, I do think he wins. I think he wins more comfortably, especially as Groves is no longer with Adam Booth. You know, who had a very big part to play in that, in my opinion. So DeGale wins. DeGale goes on to beat Groves. I hope DeGale doesn't go on to fight Andre Durrell to be the for the eliminator, because that's tougher.
To be honest, I see DeGale winning the fight, but for me, he has to fight more consistently, and he has to fight better level of opposition to be started talking about the Frotches. He can have the rematch with Groves because that's domestic level, but even though Frotch is domestic, he's still above the domestic level. So, you know.
Okay.
I think for me, DeGale's still got a lot to prove. He's a gold medalist, but amateur's a different style. To me, he's got a lot to prove.
I mean, personally, I think James DeGale is actually better than George Groves.
Of course.
Yeah,
Definitely. However, George
Definitely.
Groves has fought at a higher level and he fought more consistently. But
It's hard to say someone is better after they fought and he's beaten. Irrespective of how you want to view it.
But that
He
fight
lost the fight.
yeah, but on the Kaiser lost the fight, there's many fights where, you know, you can really look into it, and a lot of people have to go winning the fight. People have Grace in the fight. It's a toss up. That's why people want to see the rematch, because
There needs to be a rematch. I don't want anyone to say.
Score.
I don't want to hear Groves saying, "Well, I've already beat him once in the amateurs and once in the pros." No.
I don't think
This is
Grace will.
someone.
I think
This
Grace
is
will give
someone
him the
you've got to
rematch.
fight again.
I think Groves will give him the rematch because he thinks he will be in the rematch.
Yeah, I think he will.
But
Because
I
Groves is
think
very confident.
yeah,
guy,
Groves
you
is
know.
very confident.
but then the thing is, I would say, the one thing I would say, in actually the first fight, the only fight, George Groves had a game plan. He stuck to the game plan. James DeGale
Agreed.
did not stick to his game plan, and that's why he lost.
Mission done.
If James DeGale fought his fight, it wasn't that easy. I think he wins it easy.
And I mean,
Show
to be
and
honest,
prove.
I
It's
mean,
about show and prove.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this is a debate for a whole nother show, and hopefully when that match gets made, you know, so I think, having said that, you know, he's fighting Periban tonight.
Unless he goes for Durrell, which
But again,
Yeah.
it's similar to the main card. Obviously, it's a rematch fight. There's history. There's animosity there.
Yeah.
So it builds for a good fight in itself.
Yeah.
So having them both on a card, it builds up that rivalry
Does,
even
it
more.
does,
definitely.
So
it does.
And they had this brawl, so You know, they don't like each other. They
And
want to get it
They
on.
genuinely
So
don't like each
Expect
other.
the post-match interviews to be
Yeah,
about each other.
yeah,
as well.
I'll definitely.
Yeah,
Can't wait for that.
They are
Can't wait
on
for
a
that.
collision
That.
course.
Definitely build
And
up to it.
it has to happen.
Yeah,
I,
so-
I think De Gea will win tonight.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
massively tough test for him,
Yeah.
but I think he'll win it. I think he'll
Yeah.
do it on points.
Are we
I
in
think
agreement?
it'll be a good performance by De Gea.
Yeah.
Expect him to call out Groves after the fight. I think Groves, you know, as we said, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I think he will win the fight as well, and I expect he'll probably want the De Gea fight as well. He'll probably want it because he's beaten him once and he thinks he can beat him again.
Yeah.
I agree. I think second time round I've got De Gea on this one. I think he's naturally the better fighter, the better boxer. But again, like we said, he just didn't follow the game plan. But I think second time round he will be a little bit more disciplined. He'll be more strict in terms of his boxing ability and what he's supposed to be doing in the fight. And I see De Gea winning. If he does shoot, if he does go against Durrell though, I think it's a completely different story though. I think Durrell is a bit of a different level.
Andre, we're talking about here.
Yeah. And I see Durrell winning that fight against De Gea. If I'm honest.
I have to stop you there because we'll have to revisit that
Yeah.
if that fight's made. Because
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. So we'll have to revisit. That's the whole nother show. So you know, I think we probably need to move on to the
But
main
it's a
event.
good future for De Gea. It's good for boxing as well. Good
It
for British
is.
boxing. It's brilliant for De Gea. And obviously it'll be an exciting time.
But
It's an exciting year for De Gea.
But going back to the whole fight card, the fight card is built for all of these fighters to raise their profile. That's all it's about. So we expect the British fighters to win their fights, apart from the main event, which is again is kind of a pick and fight. It's what kind of style you prefer, but you know. It's all about raising the profile for British fighters, and it is a decent card to be fair.
Fair do. So on to the main event then.
To big man on campus. Brandish your weapon or get dropped to the canvas.
Cleverly Bellew 2. The build up's been very impressive. Me personally, I've been going back and forth. I've been torn between, you know, sort of two trains of thought, but I'm gonna stick to my principles, and my principles are always, you know, the better boxer. If he does what he needs to do, he'll pull it out. So I'm gonna go for Nathan Cleverly by decision. I won't be surprised if he gets a stoppage because of the higher weight. Now I'm gonna say that I'm making this prediction is not the most confident because I've been back and forth. You know, Tony Bellew's intense, and I really enjoy watching the guy. He's very entertaining. He's got the eye of the tiger, and you know he's definitely capable of pulling it out. And in my opinion, if he wins, he'll get the knockout, I believe. But I'm gonna stick to my guns. Cleverly, he seems calm, cool, and collected. He's in great shape. He's beat him already. If he sticks with his boxing, you know, I think he can do it. You know, it's not the most confident pick, but I'm going for Cleverly because I have to make a pick. So yeah, what do you guys think, Femi? It's difficult, ain't it?
It's not difficult.
Oh, it is for me.
It's not difficult.
Femi's confident.
It's not difficult.
I'm sure it'll work.
I do. I mean,
It's not difficult.
you know, he spanked him once. He's gonna spank him again. 2-0, repeat.
2-0,
repeat.
It's
So-
quite simple. 2-0, repeat.
Yeah, listen, Bellew, I do like you. Seriously, no. Bellew's my kind of guy. If I'm being honest with you, you know, he's there. He's like, you know, he doesn't mince his words. I really do like him. But, you know, as you said, better boxer. You know, you go with the better boxer in most cases. Cleverly's gonna beat him. I also think I don't know whether this power reputation that Bellew has, is it really warranted like that? Like, I mean, like, how much power does he really carry? You know, against, like, fighting against world-class opposition. I don't really know. Now, I will say this, and I don't know if he can do it. If Bellew fights this fight on the back foot, could be interesting.
Bellew can fight on the back foot.
How well?
I think he's forced to.
Fight
How
I think
well?
He's forced to.
But he
When
can-
he's facing good opposition.
But he
he's forced
can
to, isn't
he can fight on the
Stevenson
back
fight.
foot.
How
He can
well,
do
though?
it,
Find the back fight and get licked all night.
But then again, that's the difference though. That's the difference between the two fighters because we've seen Nathan Cleverly fight the same way. And Bellew
Same
said
way.
that before.
I know.
He's fought the same
Yeah.
way, the same, you know, high intensity, you know, explosiveness from variation of punches. Tony Bellew, on the other hand, has boxed on the back foot and boxed on the front foot. So we've seen more variation from Bellew rather than Cleverly. Back to your point about the
but how efficient is each part of the variation? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
And above all, to be honest, after all the build-up, all the animosity, do you really believe Dave Caldwell's a good trainer? But do you really believe he's gonna devise a game plan for Tony Bellew to fight on the back foot against Nathan Cleverly?
Tony Bellew's going to only win this fight on pure heart, determination.
That's not good enough for boxing.
No.
I'm just saying, if he wins the fight, that's how he wins
Heart
the fight.
determination and that Hail Mary punch.
That's how he's going to win the fight.
He needs that punch. He needs that knockout punch because he's not going to beat Cleverly on points. He's not going to outwork him. And at this higher weight,
I don't know. With heart and determination, he can outwork him.
He won't because he's
Cleverly's definitely more skilled, but
100%.
I think that Bellew, the way he's talking about the fight, the way his whole attitude, his whole demeanour suggests to me that he's in his home turf, as with the first fight.
He talks every time. He talks against Stevenson.
The way he's taught this fight, for me, is more than he's ever.
Right.
Are
you saying that therefore? Okay, yeah. That he's therefore going to give extra to deliver on that talk.
You can't talk how he's talking without delivering. If he doesn't deliver, then to be honest,
he's like the whole from the Stevenson thing, where he talked and then
But with Stevenson, I think he can accept losing to Stevenson as being a higher tier of a fighter, whereas Cleverly, because it's a domestic level fight, he feels that I'm not having that. Yeah. That fight before was nah.
So what's your pick then?
My pick personally, I think Cleverly will win the fight, but I'm still saying that Bellew, the way he's talking, the way he's amping the fight, the way he's so determined that he's not gonna lose, that kind of mentality can take you places.
But just to go with my prediction on this, I think firstly what I want to do is I just want to take it one step back and I want to go through the animosity and the rivalry of this fight. A lot of times in boxing we get two fighters who will pretend to dislike each other and pretend to have this rivalry for the sake of selling tickets.
These guys.
That's not the case here. These two genuinely dislike. I don't want to even say these two. Bellew hates Cleverly. There is a genuine animosity from Bellew to Cleverly. Cleverly, I think, is trying to be the nice guy and be like, you know what, I don't actually hate this guy, but I wish him well. Bellew's not like that. It's a completely different clash of personalities, clash of, I think it's upbringing as well. I think Cleverly's the guy he's got a good education, he went to uni, he's studied, he's lived that kind of life. Bellew's the kind of guy he's like the school bully, and he never, he's just kind of stayed in that kind of environment on the street.
Sorry, there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Just because Cleverly went uni, don't mean he's not hood.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Talk to your boy.
Me, I went uni, bro.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But there is a clash there. You can see that there is a complete difference in personality between these two people, and there is a genuine animosity between Bellew and Cleverly.
But personality doesn't win fights.
No, but
skills.
But this will lead me on to this point here where Bellew, I think this time around, I think he knows where he went wrong the first time around. I think now he knows deep down he knows he can beat Cleverly, but he knows the way to do it.
So you think that he can make the adjustments that he needs?
I think he can make the adjustments, but I think very importantly as well, I think he can get into Cleverly's head, and I think he has got into Cleverly's head.
No,
I think
it's going to be the complete other way around.
No, and I think Bellew will go for it, and I think Cleverly will have a little bit of a shaky start.
What were we saying earlier?
I'm putting my money on it. I'm saying Bellew's going to win by knockout tonight.
You're going to be broke.
I'm going to put Bellew is going to win by knockout tonight.
I'm going to disagree with that on the other side. I think that Bellew's talk the talk. We've heard it before in the past. I think he's going to get in the ring, he's going to hit Cleverly with some good hard shots. Cleverly's going to be there. He's going to still be standing, he's going to do what he does, taunts, hands in the air, and that's going to frustrate Bellew even more. He's going to think this guy, the animosity is going to come in, the emotion is going to come in, he's going to be more open. And we know Bellew loves to eat right hands throughout fights for fun. He eats them. He eats them for fun. Cleverly's got the speed. I think he's got true power at cruiserweight as well. He's not known for a knockout artist.
But Bellew can fight, and this is a way up. This is a way up.
Fight. He can fight, and he's going. You know, Bellew will be there. He's not. He's going to go for broke. He's not going to let it go to the cards. And I think he's more open. I can see Cleverly stopping him down the run. And
I think if there's that
I
opening,
actually agree.
I'm going for Cleverly stoppage.
I actually agree. I can see
Bellew
that. And I do want Bellew to win. You know, we're in Liverpool, man. It's going to be a good night if Bellew wins. You know what I mean? So, but
I see Bellew troubling Cleverly. I see Bellew getting that little shape, and I see Cleverly
But
being
Cleverly will
shook,
still be there.
and then I see Cleverly being shook, and I see may even be a knockdown, and I see Bellew just going bang and literally being all over him, and I see a stoppage.
That's going to be Bellew's downfall.
if this fight is fought on the inside, Bellew has no chance.
So am I the only one that's still on the fence here? Because like I see Femi over there, you know, he's cleverly. I know you cleverly as well, Bellew, and you're very confident.
I'm on the fence, to be honest,
Yeah.
but you know,
I mean, I've had to look at both fighters. I mean, like I said before, Cleverly fights the same way. I've seen Bellew. I've
say
seen
Bellew fights the same
different
way.
But Bellew has shown different skills though. He's shown he can fight in different styles.
Who against though? Who
But at the
against?
same time, I mean,
Isaac Chalemba.
Who
Let's
against?
see you beat Isaac Chalemba.
but hey, but you know, he still won. You know, he wins a win.
He's knocked out his last couple of
But
fights.
I mean,
He's confident.
I
He's
mean,
confident.
I mean, the point you made about Cleverly being calm and collected. I mean, he probably has good poker face. I mean, you know. I mean,
You know what?
The
The thing is, when you see the interviews between Bellew and Cleverly, you look at Cleverly's whole demeanour. He's respectful. He understands the sport. And this is the thing that kind of concerns me, is that he's so respectful to the point, even to when he's referring to Kovalev and saying how he lost to Kovalev, and he understands that this guy's a different breed. To me, that's almost accepting defeat. If you're boxing, you don't really want to be saying somebody else is better than you.
No, I know what you mean.
Like,
I do know what you
for
mean.
me, that's like a chink. If I was Bellew, I'd be looking at him and saying, you know what, you don't really want this like how I want this.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but here's what I think is going on. I think Cleverly understands that it's not the emotion that, you know, being too emotional in something like boxing can be your downfall. We know this. And I think Cleverly is trying not to get emotional, or at least antagonized,
I think
do you know what I mean, by Bellew's actions.
They've both taken defeats.
Yeah.
So, but how I see is that the way Cleverly has taken the defeat, to me, because there's more acceptance in the defeat, he's almost resigned himself to say, you know what, I've hit my plateau, I've hit where I can actually go. This fight is now at cruiserweight, right? So before the last fight was at light heavyweight. They've almost said, you know what, we've accepted our defeats and we've moved on. But I feel that the defeat that Cleverly has taken has affected him more than Bellew. Bellew's got that self-belief and self-confidence to the point where he feels like, you know what, I had a bad night, that was it. Whereas Cleverly's like, you know, I am not actually at that grade.
But yeah, I agree with that. But Bellew does kind of have this, the way he's speaking, he's talking like he's, you know, a profound knockout artist. He's talking like he's the Golovkin of cruiserweight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think it's
that self-belief border on delusional.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of self-belief.
But it's
you
better
can't,
to have that
you
than none
can't dismiss
at all.
that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't dismiss that. You cannot dismiss
I was
that.
going to say, you make a great point, and before we get to your pick, because you haven't made
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
I mean, you make a great point because obviously Cleverly, you know, he's got that maths degree, so he thinks about things theoretically.
Yeah.
So you know,
Calculate
Kovalev beat him.
logically, yeah.
It's X's and O's. He's better than me, you know, and these are the reasons why. He's just better than me theoretically. So I have my level. Kovalev has his level. Whereas Bellew, his defeat, it was all kind of practical. I couldn't make the weight. I was dead at the weight. That's probably why I lost. Boxing wise, these are the reasons why I lost. He just thinks, yeah, I couldn't make the weight, and that's why I lost. So that's a good point. Like, I think Bellew has got a bit more belief, and I think
He's got the heart though for this fight.
He
wants this
thinks
fight more.
Cleverly's heart's gone, which is why I'm not as confident in picking Cleverly. I'm still picking Cleverly just because of you know, the skills and, you know,
Who was it
I
that
think-
said? Who was it that said that hearts and like that don't win fights?
yeah,
Do you remember that fight with
Yeah.
Sprott when he had that dislocated shoulder?
Yeah.
Was it Sprott?
Ollie
He won that
Harrison
fight
and-
all on heart.
yeah.
Like last minute.
It's true.
There's no dispute you
And
can
the
win a
fight-
fight on heart.
You can win the fight
Yeah.
on heart.
Ultimately, if you're gonna pick the fight,
It's hard to pick on
If you're gonna be
intangibles.
objective, you
Yeah.
would say because Cleverly's the better fighter,
Yeah.
well, not the better boxer, not better fighter.
Better
There's a
boxer,
difference.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's a better boxer, so automatically you would assume that he he would win.
I'm not
But
one
like
of
I'm saying,
these
heart.
respect to people.
That fight with
It takes heart. It takes heart out of the ring.
Heart should get you through training in terms of perfecting your technique.
Alright, let me ask you this.
Heart is
Let me ask you this.
practicing the jab 1,000 times a day to perfect it.
Let me ask
Yeah,
you
we're
this.
Rickenbaugh Jr. here.
That's heart, in my opinion.
What was that with
I
Sprott?
hate it
What was
when
that
I
with
see-
Sprott? When Sprott had a dislocated shoulder and he banged that guy out in the last round, what was that? That was hard. Everybody
a
else-
low pain threshold. Guys, can we just
Everybody else-
Can we just get Fence Boy's prediction?
let me
Yeah,
get-
yeah, alright, Fence Boy.
He's ready to jump off the fence. He's jump off the fence. Which way are you
Obviously,
going?
I've
Bellew.
always gone with a boxer usually on my fight because I like boxers. Bellew, does he have the knockout power? We're gonna find out tonight. You know what?
Come off the fence, man.
Yeah,
Come off the
no, you
fence.
know what?
You're glued.
You know what?
Come off
Bellew
the
wants
fence,
some more. I'm going to Tony Bellew KO.
Good lad. Yes.
But
Go on, Bellew.
but I would not be surprised if Nathan Cleverly stops him or wins the fight. But I'm picking Bellew.
This fight's not going 12 rounds, in my opinion.
No, it's not going
It's
to.
not going 12 rounds.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Yeah.
I think he can go 12 rounds easily, but my money's on Cleverly, boxing smart, taking emotion out of the fight, playing it to the game plan that his corner's giving him. Bellew, he's going to get emotional. He's going to get to the point where he wants to dig deep, and that's going to cost him.
So you're going cleverly points or stoppage?
I'd say points, but I can see a late stoppage. But I'm going to go points.
Going points.
Cleverly points,
Yeah.
clear cut.
Tell you what, I'm going to agree with you. Cleverly, stoppage.
Yeah.
In that
Bellew,
case,
stoppage or knockout for me.
It'll be
So-
interesting night.
it's 4-2. A couple of guys think Cleverly's going to get a stoppage. A couple of us think points. But
Can we just say
You're
if
not very
Bellew
confident.
wins, then these guys are buying all of us two drinks?
No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. No problem.
No
That's on
problem.
camera, that's on camera.
No
Not all night. Not all night. Okay,
Alright,
get the
first drink.
Yeah, look, we know you. I mean, so definitely not all night.
I thought you said that.
Just let you know, if we lose, you know you get all the jokes, right?
Yeah, exactly. He
That's
can
on
cover
reverse
that.
as well.
I'll be home at 1 o'clock.
It'll be reverse.
so there you have it. There's our predictions. We're up in Liverpool, so looking to enjoy the fight. So that's that.
Who told you I lost it? I just put it down for a second. Damn, Kenny King lounge for a second, kick his hooves up, throw stubble on the face for once without a smooth cut, grow a little gut, can't even enjoy the fruit of my labor before they call me Luke and hand me my lifesaver. The rule is back. You can tell by the trumpets. Prince of Wales send me tea, biscuits, crumpets.